We're born in the moonlight. Ain't no fantasy. Can't breathe in the sunlight.
Hello Aromas, this is Aromie here and welcome back to Changeling. We're here, drank that potion, and now we're just kinda in space. Not really in space. I was trapped, floating in a deep dark place, surrounded by whispering voices. They passed over me like moth wings. I soared faster and faster. Up was down, left was right. I had no idea where I was. There was a soft whisper, angry, frantic. My eyes jolted open as if I had been dreaming and would trip down a stair. One moment the world was nothing but darkness, and the next I was standing staring up at the stars. What? Where? Why was I outside? I didn't remember. I looked around worriedly. Outside, night. I glanced down at myself, dressed like I'd been hiking or something, but at night? Okay. I glanced behind me at the unfamiliar path that led up to an unfamiliar row of houses. Seems like I'm still okay. I'm not like completely just lifeless. Where on earth am I? Ugh. I put a hand to my head. Everything was so fuzzy, so weird. I started up the path because, well, my only other option was the woods. There was something familiar about one gate partially open. I peered inside and that's right, this is the new house. How could I have forgotten that? I stepped inside, still unsure why I was outside at night, but two arms snaked out of the darkness and wrapped around me. Michiko! Let go! I tried to yank myself away from the assailant. I couldn't even see. He held me tightly against his chest. Michiko, are you alright? Who was this? We're not shouting, to be honest. Maybe elbow him in the stomach? Whoever had grabbed me was tall, very, very tall, stupidly tall, but that also meant I was perfectly positioned to attack. I managed to wiggle one arm loose enough for the sudden embrace to elbow him firmly in the gut. The tall man doubled over, loosening his grip on me. This gave me a chance to pull away, scraping the hair out of my eyes again. I staggered back a step or two, trying to put some distance between the two of us. You stay back. Oh no, please don't tell me this wrong. We're completely forgetting about him. There's no way her memory's gonna flood back, right? Who are you? The stranger wheezed, trying to catch his breath. I was a little proud of myself, honestly, and it wasn't any less than he deserved. You didn't just grab random people in the middle of the night. Have you always been this violent? Only when strangers grabbed me in the middle of the night. Now that I was getting a look at him, I realized he wasn't much older than me, if at all, and something about him was familiar. I put a hand to my head as I tried to remember. Why was it so hard to remember? We moved and there was a club. We were reading Shakespeare. Yorick? I don't know why that was the first thing that came to mind. I mean, that's stupid. No one's going to name their kid Yorick. The stranger closed his eyes as if summoning up all of his patience. He'd been through an ordeal, so I'm going to ignore that. This time. Ewan also hated. Wait! The realization hit me like lightning. Suddenly everything rushed back at once. The club, magic was real, I was a changeling, and Ewan! Relief washed over Ewan's face. You remember me now. Of course I remember you. I mean, I forgot there for a few minutes, but yes, I remember now. The fact that I'd forgotten him so completely was actually sort of terrifying. You okay? I think so. My head's still a bit fuzzy. How much do you remember? Hard to say. If there's something I haven't remembered, I'm not going to remember that I don't remember. He rolled his eyes at that. What? It's true. Do you remember about the ritual? Ritual? There were hesitant flickers of some kind of memory when he said that. Brenna in a clearing, holding something, a 7-pointed star. Right, I sort of remembered what happened. You left and I drank that thing. Everything was burning and I heard voices. Then I was here. Wait, did you see them return me? I was hiding, just listening. I didn't want to push my luck and deal with however many of them showed up. I placed a hand to my chest, looking around. I don't really feel any different. Ewan reached a hesitant hand and picked up a lock of hair. Your hair is longer. Oh, thanks for noticing. I patted my head and ran my hands through it myself. Whoa! He was right, it was way longer. Guess the Fae aren't much for haircuts. I'm so glad you're okay. Yeah, well, I mean, me too. I don't know how to thank you for this. Without you and your dad, I would still have no idea what was going on. More my dad than me. Not true. Not true at all. I don't feel like I did much to help. You've helped me repeatedly. Oh my god, just the stuff thanks already, jeez. Ewan smiled slightly. Fine, you're welcome. That's at least 2 coffees you owe me now. Alright, challenge accepted. How did it turn to 2? Why don't we meet tomorrow? Today, whatever. What time is it? What time even is it? Very, very early. Strangely, I didn't feel tired at all. So, coffee. Ewan grinned slightly, taking a step closer. 2 coffees? In one day, you're totally going to stunt your growth and use the bathroom a whole lot. At least mine isn't already stunted. Well, okay. Listen here. I didn't drink coffee when I was young, and I'm still short, so I feel like is that even proven to be true? I glared up at him. The only reason you're not short is because your dad is also a giant. My dad is normal sized. I hesitated. Will you help me figure out how to pay him back? And Brenna, I feel like I should. I think it's probably wise. Who the fuck opened the door? A sudden shaft of faint light hit the both of us as the whirled around. Someone's awake. Get inside now. He bolted across the yard and I watched him for a split second before I slipped inside quickly and tore my jacket off. There was absolutely no hiding that I was fully dressed as I sidled behind the island just as Spencer came down. Chico? Hi. Brother? I paused with one hand on the kettle and one reaching for a mug. Spencer squinted at me in the dim light. Is that you? Yes? Who else is it? He stood at the foot of the stairs, tired and confused. His hair was mussed, and he looked like he was still half asleep. Who do you think, Santa? What are you doing? I couldn't sleep. I was about to make hot chocolate. Spencer stood there still, staring at me for a long time. I expected him to ask why I was dressed, but he just started back upstairs. Whatever. I'm going back to bed. Good night? He was gone before I'd even finished speaking. I hope he didn't notice the hair. I'd have to wear it up for a few days so Mom wouldn't notice, at least until I could get it trimmed. It was nearly past my waist now. I leaned against the island, glancing at the clock. I should probably wait a bit before going up, long enough to have feasibly made hot chocolate. The shadow flittered across the stairs and I started staring with wide eyes. The small shape stooped and a strange creature crept out of the shadows. Oh, the brownie! I'd forgotten that as well. Shh! I put a finger to my lips and it mirrored me. That's right. It looked at me for a moment, then vanished down the hall without a sound. About after 20 minutes, it crept back up to my room. Shoes and jacket in hand, I was still piecing things together. There were a few holes in my memory still, faces without names, or names without faces. But it was starting to come back to me, the important parts anyway. I remember the club and my research. I remember the conversation where Logan told me I was a changeling. My phone buzzed in my hand as I tried to figure out what was still missing. Ewan. I opened the message quickly, hoping nothing had gone wrong on his way home. Home, are you okay? I'm fine, just Spencer. Figures it would be the evil twin. Everything okay? Yes, we're fine. How's the memory? Not sure. Getting better, though. Won't assume anyone else is a kidnapper. Probably. Lucky them. Things were tumbling back into place bit by bit. You and I continued to text until the sky grew faint with watery light. We slowly went over everything that had happened since I moved back. Some things I recalled, others I didn't. You reminded me about the Spriggan. I'd forgotten about that. And that weird bridge. The way I kept having strange feelings underneath it. He reminded me about the sleepwalking and how it was probably the fairy whose body I was in trying to give it back to Fairy. And he reminded me that even now I should be careful. As I finally snuggled back into bed, there was still one part of the conversation replaying in my head. Ewan was gently reminding me that, in spite of everything, I may not really be normal anymore. I had spent at least 5 years in Fairy, probably much more. All that exposure to fairy magic had undoubtedly changed me. At best, though, I retained sensitivity to magic and probably the ability to use it. At worst, I wasn't even human anymore, though I wouldn't be Fae either. He said he'd be able to get a better feel for it when we meet later in the day. I wasn't sure how I felt about that, to be honest. On one hand, if I was suddenly shut out of the club, shut out of all this, I'd feel, I don't know, it would be weird. I think I'd miss it in a weird way, but at the same time, it would have been a relief as well. As it was, I was getting warnings to be careful, to remember that the Fae weren't gone, they'd just given me back, and it didn't mean they would try to take me again sometime, and that I might not even be human anymore, which I had kind of accepted that, but now it felt weird all over again. I threw an arm over my face. I felt confused, frustrated, and like I hadn't had time to properly absorb any of this. It all happened too fast. I just needed time to decompress, to think about it all, write it down, and just really think about it. I dozed off sometime after that. My dreams were a jumble of voices and darkness, and hearing people calling for me while I stumbled around unable to find them in the dark. There was a large, strange space, open, echoey, with lights that dazzled my eyes, singing voices. All around me was the scent of earth and moss. Abruptly, the lights faded, and I was left in an empty darkness with silence echoing around me. From somewhere, I heard the sound of a single bell ringing. And then I was awake, staring at my ceiling in the bright morning light. It's October 24th. We have still yet to reach Halloween. This is insane. It's the branches of this story route is insane. Though I had barely slept, I didn't feel tired. The opposite, I was jittery and energetic. I felt strangely nervous, but at the same time, it was like a weight had been lifted. A weight I hadn't even known I was carrying. I spent the morning on the phone with Allie. I hadn't touched base with her at all the previous day, much to her displeasure now that I was finally feeling her in. Are you kidding me? How could you not tell me any of this yesterday? To be honest, it's still a bit fuzzy, but I think I just spent the afternoon kind of in a daze. I mean, I suddenly find out I'm a changeling, but there's a method to fix it, and I don't know. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. Well, think about it next time. I hope there's not a next time. Thank you very much. Besides, I'm not sure Logan and Brenna would have let you be there. They were weird about me being there, and I was the one getting help. Yeah, they shared a pretty big fairy secret with you. I bet they weren't happy about that. They indicated others might not be happy about it too. Logan apparently wanted to wipe my memory of the ritual too, but Ewan wouldn't let him. Not surprised, fairies and secrets. You should keep doing that barrier we taught you for now, even if we don't have to keep you in anymore. Now would probably be a good time to keep the rest of them out. After that, we agreed to meet up at the courtyard. Allie told me I could get there through the cafe. I managed to badger the keys from Spencer so I could head into town alone. I had to park a couple of blocks from the cafe, but I didn't mind too much. It was a nice day and I enjoyed walking. Or would have, but I can still see them. All the cryptics lurking around, the drifters and what have you. I could see them all. So I'm really not back to normal, am I? I wasn't sure why I was so disappointed by that. I probably would have been as disappointed if I had gone totally back to how I was as well. Probably more than disappointed, scared. I'd still know they were there even if I couldn't see them. And somehow that might be worse than still seeing them. But I don't know, there was kind of finality to it now. I wasn't normal. I would never be normal again, but I should be normal. I would be normal if it wasn't for what the Fae did to me. I guess that's what's frustrating me. Ugh, I just feel weird about the whole thing, really. Weird, mixed up, and still a bit frustrated if I was being honest. I sighed and tucked my head down, and as I waited for the light to turn so I could cross the street, someone smashed into me from behind, nearly sending me flying into the street. I don't know who it is. Maybe I'm not going to confront. No, ignore them and focus on the task at hand. I still my jaw and refused to look behind me. I didn't want another surprise confrontation with a cryptic that had it in for me. Besides, if I ignore them, maybe they just go away. The light switched right after that, and I darted across the street without looking back. Fortunately, the cafe was not even a block from where I was. I ran the rest of the way there, stopping only briefly to catch my breath before pulling the door open and heading inside. If it was any regular human, they would instantly say sorry. But because there was no sorry dialogue, I assumed it's a ghosty ghost. I let out a long sigh as I stood just inside the cafe. I glanced outside, but there was nothing, and no one nearby. Whoever had smashed into me at the corner apparently hadn't followed. Oh, hi, Merle. I shot Merle an awkward smile as I headed for the exit I knew led to the courtyard. He grinned in response. We were going to start charging for use of that door. I made a face at him. I'll buy a coffee on my way back, though. Sorry, not though. I'll hold you to it. I need to buy 2 anyway. Technically 3, I guess, because Ewan wants 2. I waited as I stepped through the courtyard to beyond. I entered the courtyard to find a surprising number of people there. Danny, Elliot, Drayson, Shelley, Ewan, Allie. What the fuck? You all having a party? Way more than I was expecting, to be honest. I wasn't sure how they all found out what happened. And Chico? Well, I told Allie. Allie must have told to Shelley. Ewan probably told Drayson. Allie was across the yard and wrapping her arms around me in a fierce hug before I could even blink. Jeez, calm down. Oh my god! She squeezed it tightly as I gasped for air as I awkwardly patted her back. Ewan told us all about it. Are you okay? I am, I think. Not sure. I totally forgot Danny was also here. Danny, I'm not sure how he found out. It's just that, I mean, I could see all the cryptics on the way to the shop still, so I guess that answers the question about me being back to normal again. I'm not, and I never will be. It's not all that bad though, right? No. It's just, I don't know. It's overwhelming all over again, somehow. Still, things could have turned out a lot worse. No, I know that. I'm not upset about how things turned out. I was lucky Ewan was there to help me with his dad. I caught Ewan's eye and smiled. He smiled back, but only slightly. The smile didn't reach his eyes. I frowned, wondering if he was okay. It's definitely lucky you had people who caught on to what was happening before the Fae managed to get you back to their world. I still want to know when and how all this happened. I mean, I have so many questions. It might be best to just let it go. Sometimes questions don't get answered, and sometimes that's for the best, even I don't have all the answers about why I developed magic. But don't you want them? I mean, I do want them, and in my case, it's not something I can easily ask. I can't imagine walking up to my dad and asking if he's a wizard. In your case, it might be dangerous. You managed to get away mostly unscathed, but from now on, it would probably be best to not get involved in fairy matters. Well, to be fair, I never wanted to get involved with fairies in the first place. I shot you in a sheepish look, instantly realizing how that sounded. Oh, I'm being a jerk. Whose route was it where I triggered them as well? Mark. I triggered him as well, saying like, I didn't want this. This shouldn't have been thrown on me, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this is where we're going to stop for today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
touch it, I need that.